Welcome to the woods. Welcome to the adventure. Beautiful day out here. Breeze blowing through, sun is shining. Smell of the trees, plants. It's incredible. We're exploring out here along this trail, going into the woods. Just up ahead here at Rock Springs Run State Reserve. Great place to come out here and explore Central Florida. It's in the town of Sorrento. Besides the beautiful nature here, a lot of interesting layers of history throughout the wilderness. In fact, during the 1800s, there was a town here, abandoned today, known as Ethel. And there was a population of around 200 people or so it was a small community. And a booming community in those days. It was growing until eventually it was abandoned. And some records have indicated that it may have been abandoned because of the hard freezes during the late 1800s, which wiped out a lot of crops in the area. And there were a lot of farmers here in this town, carpenters, people that worked at the sawmill, and different industry throughout the area. So lots to explore today and learn about. Let's take a journey into these woods. It's really peaceful out this place. You just hear the sounds of the wind, the nature around us. Now this is interesting. Out here exploring in the woods, came across this old windmill still standing after all these years. Probably dates back to the early 1900s sometime. And a good portion of it's still standing. The top of it's gone, unfortunately. Let's take a look at this. You can see the windmill here, up to the top. And this is interesting. There's a palm tree growing right here inside the windmill at the base. Goes all the way up and then actually grows out of the windmill through parts of the metal there. Looks like this is part of the top of the windmill. Blades here, mostly covered up, buried. In this area. We're going to go over this way to the railroad. Take me to the railroad. That's where I will want to go. That's right. It's not too far from here. This railroad is vital to the economy of this town and its growth. Abandoned today. It's great to walk along this. How neat is this? Exploring through the woods here, not too far from the railroad, seeing this stack of wood over here. It's old metal remains also around the area. I thought this may have been part of the structure. It appears these are old railroad ties actually from the railroad that went through Ethel here. Really incredible to see this. These are the same ties the trains traveled over while passing through the town of Ethel during the 1800s. So you can just imagine that when you look at this. Exploring deep out here in the woods, lots of places to roam. Going off the beaten path. Hiking back roads of Ethel. Ghost town today. It's a booming place. You have to imagine that there have been homesteads throughout these areas scattered around. And there's lots of open land, so great for farming. Which the town was built around farming industries and other ones as well. Here at the old cemetery, Ethel Cemetery, established 1880. It's really neat to see this here. There's a nice gate here welcoming us into the cemetery. Let's take a look around. Alright, walking around the old cemetery. One time there would have been many tombstones throughout this property here. Unfortunately, they are no longer here. There's a few tombstones over here that still remain. Let's take a look at those. May their souls rest in peace. They may be gone, but they aren't forgotten. That's why we're here exploring this place. Take in all the history and experience it. Here's one of the grave sites. Woodman of the World Memorial, Luke H. Moore, born in 1876, passed away in 1914. Here we have Joseph A. Boyd, son of James H. and Minnie L. Boyd, born December 1917, passed away in February of 1918. Sadly didn't live very long. So far, seeing these grave sites here, see another one over there. And all around this area here, fences way over there, so it surrounds the perimeter. Just imagine how many graves are out here. People that once lived in this town. Father and mother, W.M. Moore, born in 1800, passed away in 1882, and buried here. Next to him is his wife, Charlotte Moore. She was born in 1813 and passed away in 1883. Mr. and Mrs. Moore, buried right over here. Both lived long lives out here. They're in the 1800s. And at some point, they were here in this area, in the town of Ethel. So just imagine what they were doing out here all those years ago. And now they're buried here. They once lived in this town, and it's really neat to see them here. May they rest in peace. Exploring further into the woods here, came across this area. There's a clearing, and there was once a structure standing. I can see logs and pieces of wood scattered around. There's a car seat here. Lots of wood and pieces of metal laying around the area. Old metal here, even part of a brick. You can see some animal tracks throughout the area. There's some deer prints. Towering oaks over the railroad here. So beautiful. Love this area. And just over here is an old railroad marker in use in the days of the railroad. That's the mile marker 778. Really interesting to see that. Roaming through these woods at the Ethel Windmill. Really interesting sight here. Windmill's just over there, and looking around to see if there's any more historic remains in the area. Now, there is a overgrown path here, maybe some roadway in the past that was used. The railroad line isn't that far from this area as well, so a lot of activity here at one time. Nature's reclaimed this area. Very quiet here today. Interesting taking a walk into history to explore the wilderness. See some pipes here, once attached to the windmill. And there's the pump. And so the blades would turn up there, generating energy and pumping the water out from underground here.